So I'm watching this here show, Woman versus Men, The Island with Bear Grylls, Series 2, Episode 1 and 2, full episode. And to me, what's most striking is management and organization. The organized majority versus the mass, and then the independent trials and tribulations, drama, all the snags and hangups, not just of environment and physical circumstance, but mental, right? Because, like, imagine you're stranded on an island with very, very finite, limited kit, but abundant raw material for you to find uh, and, I guess, incapacitate if it's alive for food, or otherwise refine for whatever tools and facilities or structures you might need, right? So I'm just thinking it comes down to two things at least. Uh, There's sleeping hours, right? And then there's waking hours. And there's labor of planning and mental processes and allocation of manpower, right? And resource. And then there's the actual doing. So there's here, right? Mind's eye, what's our target, who's doing what, who's relied on, what's our morale at, who's in distress, right? There's all those pieces to jungle, to juggle in the jungle. And we and then communications too, because if you split off into isolated just individuals or pairs, and then getting back together for when you need mass manpower for specific goals, because you can't do everything alone, and a lot of things require at least three people, right? And then you also want to keep each other posted so that you're not in the dark as to doing the same thing. You don't need one group, their group of 14 men, and then versus, and then that's another thing too. It's a battle. Everything is an illusion, but just managing sets of 10 hours, in my opinion. It's should be around about maybe 6 hours, especially in the early stages, because they're there for 6 weeks, right? Basically 2 months, just over like a month and a half. Especially for the first 2 weeks, I would assume it should be 6 hours of sleep, 4 hours of hard work, 6 hours of sleep, 4 hours of hard work. Maybe for the first, for the first days or whatever, you just do the bare essentials. Try and cobble together whatever base tools and materials you could need for fending yourself off from the elements and wildlife. And yeah, of course, I'm 33 minutes and 30 seconds in. Yeah, so heat, and then water purification and what have you, and water collection, first priority. That's a dead giveaway. And then obviously they're up to shelter. I'm not actually quite sure what's next, because another thing came to my mind. You could just go, let's just do whatever we can to scrape by and make it the 6 weeks, or huge effort early on, like the first 2 weeks, to make the rest of it coasting comfortably. You know what I mean? The difference between subsisting and living. Because I would assume, at least, to avoid embarrassment and disgrace, you'd want to live on the island, not just subsist, fucking constantly on your own piss and diarrhea bloated out the ass, and only raw crustaceans or whatever you can find, right? You want to live, which means that you'd want probably like something, a structure that's got a floor, or you're sleeping in hammock like bedding where you're off the ground, and definitely water isn't, or basically almost isn't, seeping in from rain. Hardly any leaks, at least. Like, you don't have all modern tools, of course, so it's not going to be perfect. Another thing I've thought about is, would it be feasible to dig underground and tunnel, for yeah, the protection, and maybe just to, yeah, for the protection and storage and decent shelter, as opposed to erecting things above ground, just hollowing out spaces in the sand or the dirt. That would be a question of mine. But yeah, what once you've got like the beginner tech of fire, uh, leave shelter, and some containers or what have you, and purifying and heating up the water, what next? Um, Seems to me as though you're going to want to definitely collect more materials to make a better structure and prove that. You're also going to want more water collection and purification. So, huge amounts of stuff to catch rainwater set so that you have. Oh, and then that's another thing too. You're going to probably want people to specify, like, here's our guy who maintain or creates, or guys even of the 14 who create the structure and look after the fire, make sure it doesn't go out. And that's like fucking almost all they do outside of very extreme circumstances and emergencies. And then people who collect food, like hunter gatherers for food, and then people who maybe, I don't know, explore the island for curios. Those are like your fucking your deep tech researchers. There's like, yeah, but at least the essentials is you want a group maintaining the fire and building and maintaining and maybe even improving the shelter, and then food collection, and then you probably want guys exploring to see if there's any other developments that you can collect or gather, harvest, or utilize that would help improve standard of living beyond just food shelter, like beyond just mediocre or so or passable food shelter, but better food and shelter. Uh, like, oh, hey, this is the place where we can find this type of food, but then there's other places where we can find this type of food. I don't know. Like, here's an area for this, here's an area for that. Scoping and sussing the place out would be better. Oh, and then yeah. So, food, shelter. No. Heat, water, collection and purification and filtration and what have you. Shelter, for yourself, and fire. Yeah. I'm agreeing with all that. Just what I'm struggling with again is leadership, management, communication, planning, and allocation of duties and manpowers and everyone's roles. That seems to be a struggle for me. Making the most out of, especially once you land on the island, how much energy you have is going. That's going to be, I'm pretty sure, at least you left and ate well, right? And if I was going to go to something like this, I'd try talking to friends and family about it, and getting them to help me with survival skills before I went to something like this, so that I wasn't completely helpless and hapless in terms of the menial labor. Like, obviously, I'm the sort of person who likes to climb, so maybe I could get stuff off the trees. I'm the sort of person who's an adventurer, I like maps, so I could help roughly, and I have decent enough navigation skills, like off of GPS, not just GPS. That's different. Um, but in terms of, yeah, building or hunting, I'd be pretty shite at that just without any training or prep, just on my own, yeah, or with other people. Um, I The only thing I could actually, and that's another question, is you have to ask yourself, if I was in this circumstance with these fellows, how would I do? Um, the only real things, yeah, I could offer is to be a scout, or yeah, to help plan and manage things, or keep track of priorities and what have you, so that everyone's not bewildered, lost, demoralized, and clueless and hapless. You know what I mean? So yeah, just helping to plan and just figure out who's good at doing what and who wants to even do what and what needs to be done. I could just pitch in terms of opening that up to the group because it's only been what 10 minutes, and I think I've laid out a quite a solid overview of the state of affairs and the theory and the whys and what fors and what have you. Um, yeah, what else needs to be done besides heat source, water collection, containment, purification, refinement, and food gathering, harvesting. Yeah, all that. Oh, oh. That's definitely a good one. If you could, because they don't have walkie-talkies, right? That would be a sort of a tech thing. So if you could get a communication system going where you, I don't know, make something where so you don't have to fucking smoke signals or shout everywhere because you can't shout across the island, right? So if you could, I don't know, get something to be a substitute whistle or a horn or what have you, so that you could like 3 blasts for this or that, or fucking 2 long blasts for blah blah blah, you know? Yeah, so that you can have multiple groups with different parties and just I don't know, a couple blasts for "Are you okay?" and then this is the response. Yeah, that seems to me to be important. Um, what else? So communication. Oh, yeah. I just don't know how you go from just above caveman living to the intermediate step, and even what the intermediate step constitutes. Like, fucking thinking back to Romans. Uh, well, yeah, they had bathhouses, but I don't know how you go from just above caveman living to fucking bathhouses, you know? And the process is there, and you get some clay, you shape it, you heat it, and then you arrange whatever the fuck thingies, bricks, and then you fucking said, I don't know. Yeah, that's where, yeah, plotting out the different tech levels and steps required and the processes along the way. I'm really fucking lost on the details. Really lost on the details. Need to actually do some research on that so I can make a follow-up video sooner or later sometime. Where it's like, oh yeah, okay, so outside of this, that, and the other, how do we get from basic to intermediate to advanced to all right, we got phones. We're making phones on the island. we're making gaming PCs. We're fucking making hard drives and shit. We're making data storage and entertainment devices and what have you, you know? Cameras. No, I'm just joking. They don't even almost definitely don't even have all the materials that they would even need outside of the tools to extract it and refine it and process it and produce the goods. They definitely don't even have all the resources on the island if they fucking sifted through every particle and every atom, not just X, Y, but Z, like deep and wide and tall and all that. Yeah, they don't have all the materials that they need to make the phone I'm using to talk into. But anyways, it's a very interesting, very, very interesting to all put together. Hope I can make a follow-up video with a better outline plan of the intermediate and the later stages, because the basics are the basics. And I'd probably just be like, okay, here's the overview of what we need to do, and then what do you guys think that I'd be good at? I can come up with an overview or a scheme or a theory, but actually managing and bossing people around I wouldn't want to do. And I wouldn't be very good of a worker, so I'd just take some menial, basic, simple shit to do to just try and churn out a lot of it, you know? So if you need fucking leaves gathered, I'd be a huge leave man. Or if you need Well, yeah, it's the advanced stuff like actually fishing that I'd struggle with. I can cast with. I'm ambidextrous. I can cast with both hands at least. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, twigs. Yeah. I don't know about killing the snake that they saw earlier. Yeah. Eh, who's to say? Who's to say how I'd handle that? The wild animals and what have you. Yeah. Who's really to say? You can only prove one test that everything else is just bluster or bullshit or demoralization and fucking putting yourself down and being like, I'd be incapable, or I'd be able to handle it with one pinky. So where does the truth lie? I can't even say. Other people would say I'd be completely helpless and hapless. Other people would say I could manage. Other people would say I'd be great. And then there's what I'm saying of who's to say. Yeah. So, anyways. Oh, I almost forgot to include in the video. This is just an extra tacked on recording. Yeah, I almost forgot to include the video title and where I'm at in it. This is where I paused, and the previous video I had the video paused as I was musing and ruminating and brooding and contemplating all the ongoings and all the trials and the tribulations. Because it's one thing, yeah, just to be sat in this cushy chair in this moderately warm building with good food and good rest and sleep and what have you. It's an entirely different thing to be wrapped up in the instance, in the moment. It's an entirely different thing. All right, last video, yeah, just wrapping up my thoughts. So, there's what the situation calls for, juxtaposed to what in each individual is personally capable of, what their strong suits, their aptitudes are, what their character is, who they'd find friend and enemy, and how agreeable or disagreeable they would be with the group as a whole versus with certain other people. And there's where they'd rank in whatever hierarchy that might form, which would be interesting, and then their satisfaction or contentment with whatever spot they might find. You know, how egotistical are they? How much do they want a good position, and how well would they earn or justify it? Because what I'm seeing right now is a huge portion of the management, and nothing really nothing ever happens if you don't have someone in your group being like, okay, what are we aiming at? Mr. Jordan Peterson, what are we aiming at? How are we going to get there? Who's going to make it fucking happen? You know, it's the fire. Okay, we have two guys on it. And they do their best, but it doesn't pan out. And then some other guy is like, okay, well, they're struggling, so let me try this alternative approach with the glasses instead of the fucking friction. Yeah, so with the glasses and the magnifying the sun onto some tinder, right? So you have someone setting the goal, then allocating people to do it and resources to make it happen, and it doesn't pan out. And instead of everyone being like, hold your fucking horses, we haven't given them enough time to fuck up and fail, other people took it upon themselves to be like, okay, well, in conjunction to that, if it works, if it doesn't work, what have you, gonna get something else going to the same end. So they're still cooperating, they're still collaborating. If both of them succeed, more the merrier. If none of them succeed, oh, well, they tried. And if only one of them succeeds, well, hooray, they got something. You know what I mean? But setting the goal, getting resources and manpower allocated to it, well, hopefully at least, not tunnel visioning on only one thing at a time, so you're being led by your nose to each and every checkpoint, where, like, because that's not how you build momentum. How you build momentum is, okay, some people fucking, I don't know, search for coconuts or what have you, so we have some decent drinking water and something that can be turned into, I don't know, vessels to collect more rainwater, or to eat out of, or to do whatever the fuck else with. And then other people try and hunt for wildlife or go fishing or what have you. Other people try and make a structure like you want. Bing, bang, boom. None. Okay, first day. Do one thing. Because It can't be first day do one thing forever, because throughout the day you need more than one thing. So if you're always doing first day fire, next day shelter, what happens when then you have all those things, but then they need to be maintained and upgraded? You know, then you can't just be like, okay, this day fire, this day shelter again, and then you just cycle through each day. Only that, because you'll run out of food, or you'll run out of water, or you'll run out of materials to put in your fire. You know what I mean? You gotta, yeah, juggle resources, manpower, and planning to multiple ends and multiple aims simultaneously. Simultaneously is the word that I was looking for. That's very crucial. And yeah, holy shit. If what's his name, the building manager, site guy, didn't basically go kingmaker, taking charge guy on it, anyways, they'd work out just fine. Maybe they fucking wouldn't though. Who's to say? That's the thing about reality, right? Is everything is on precedent, on precedent, on precedent. If you took those same group of people after their experience with him taking charge and then went, okay, you're not taking charge, well, they'd still have all the lessons learned from him. You know, you can't start from scratch. It's not like a fucking video game or what have you where you can memory wipe. So you'd have to do it with a new group of people and a new group of people and a new group of people. If you don't have one central, like, big head manager, holy fuck, they'd be fucking down bad. You know, they'd be very, very, very ruined. Now, another question though is, outside of just one guy taking charge and leading and managing people, and also doing a bulk of the labor too, not just like, do what I say, now I'll take my seat. Everyone's else will work while I'm the boss on the high rock, not even the high fucking chair. Yeah. Um. God. What about like the middler rank positions? You know, the in between. Because yeah, it's a very strange hierarchy to form where it's just one chief and everyone else is the plebeian. But I guess uh, in a group of 14, and to be honest, most of this, and you're never gonna formalize things like this, especially for um yeah, for just 6 weeks. You're not gonna like come to traditions and customs and laws and hierarchy and super society and all of this formalities and rituals and what have you for just 6 weeks. And then that calls into question another thing is, with all that I've said, with all that I've listed, how many of the other things that we come to do in modern advanced daily living are redundant or distractions or containment, where you're just doing it to give you psychological satisfaction or comfort, or you're just proceeding on momentum of tradition of society and custom and formality, when it's completely fucking redundant or pointless, you know? Because like when you're in the jungle or when you're in the island, you need to do what you need to do, and everything else is extra. And you don't have enough energy, manpower, you know what I mean? And just energy stored to piss about with a whole lot of wasteful things and activities and thoughts and what have you. But holy shit, in comparison to, yeah, modern living, the island living is much less wasteful, which is very interesting to think about. Yeah, they have to put in work, and then the work that they put in has to not just be disposable, it has to be in circulation, you know what I mean? That whatever tools they make, they're gonna want to keep around for like as long as possible, you know? There's no disposability. And then that's another thing too. there's no disposability of relations, or at least you hope to God not. There should be no infighting. There should be no fucking bickering or lying or deceit or treachery or what have you. All these social contagions and mental uh, fucking aberrations or fucking what would be the word? Nuisances, agitations. Yeah, yeah. The bickering spirit, the spirit to dig your heels in, grab by the ball hairs, bite the ankles, kick and scream, in the way of progress. Well, shit. That just especially in a group of 14 with hardly anything going for you, just um, and like next to heat around the center of the sun, how much disease do you think there is, right? Uh, Heat or strain or intense pressure seems to burn away impurities, just completely purge it from a fucking energy aura. You know what I mean? You're on the island, you don't even have room for thought to fuck around. You know what I mean? It can't even enter your fucking mind. Because then once that starts, woo, slippery slope, you know? So everyone's kind of, at least so far, to a lesser or greater degree, got their game faces on, not their fucking troll faces on, which is another interesting thing. Yeah. Oh, and another interesting thing to think about is in this circumstance, especially, well, you don't want anyone dying on your watch, and you want everyone doing nearabouts as well as everyone else, socialist style, just for group contentment and cohesion and morale, right? So, yeah, status and jockeying for position and resource and all of that. It would be so interesting. So we have men versus women, right? How does one group do? How does another group do? What would be interesting? What would be interesting is to do this again and again and again, but also a third group on a third island. With criminals. Just criminal men, criminal women. Or some criminals in with some civil insane people. How does that go? Or all civil and all sane men and women on the same island, and then some sane and some civil men and women with some not sane and not civil men and women on the same island. And another thing to note, I'll end it on this, isn't it interesting how well the men's group does with similarity? External, like physiological, racial, ethnic similarity, linguistic similarity. That would be another interesting thing to do. So you put people of different cultures, of different nationalities, of different languages on the same island, see how well that fucking turns out. All men, all women, half men who are convicts or criminals, with half not, like you can do infinite layers of combinations. It's like it's Pandora's box. It's Pandora's island of just how much of a shit show you can make it with different factors and variables. How many resources you give them, how much training you give them beforehand, what the constitution and composition of the groups are, from the same country, not age as well. Right now this is a mixed age group, but mostly mid-age with a few younger and like one older, right? It seems like. No, actually a bunch older, a bunch mid-aged, and just a couple younger, right? Seems to be. But most mid-aged. And then that would be... What if people brought their kids? Or their kids and their spouse? You know what I mean? And then another thing to take into consideration is, people's sexual proclivities. People's sexual proclivities. You know what I mean? Yeah, when you're on the island with near to fuck all, How much time and energy do you got to fuck around, literally and figuratively? It's just the layers. I could speak on this probably for at least 48 hours, no sleep straight. If you just gave me espresso, um, yeah. And right now, all I've had is today. No beer, no whiskey, no vodka, no wine, no cognac, no nothing, no nice drinks. So this is just off of mediocre sleep and some good food and calmness and peace of mind with the dog and the cats here, the pets, you know? So what you're getting is as normal as I can be, you know? This is normal me. This isn't um, enhanced me, so as to say, by drugs or alcohol, you know what I mean? But I wonder how I'd think about this show and what things I'd have to say and my commentary if I had a few drinks in me, or if I had a lot of drinks in me, or if I had a lot of drinks in me and some drugs. What kind of drugs? How much drugs? You know what I mean? It would be interesting to see what I'd have to say if I was with one of my long-term buddies, whom I've known for most of my life. You know what I mean? And what we'd say, or even if they just stayed silent, would definitely affect my commentary and the sorts of ideas, you know, that I'd have and the input I'd give. It would definitely be influenced by them. All these things are very interesting and curious for me to contemplate. Anyways, yeah, being on the island. I need to write a book on that and make a more formal and edited, like almost essayist video, you know? Yeah, a really refined video on all the factors and variables and theory and conditions, trials and tribulations and potentialities of and consequences of being on an island and all the variables, yeah. Because as we're seeing between the men and the women, and that's what I wanted to close on actually. The competition, as they've framed it, is an illusion. The real competition is with each individual from getting in their own fucking way and using as much of their abilities without burning themselves out and crippling or maiming themselves or exhausting themselves past the point of recovery. You know what I mean? That's the critical thing. Hoochers, do you have something to contribute? Dog? No, yes, maybe. Anyways, so that chuffing aside from the dog distracted me from my line of thinking. I think I've just about covered all I can really brainstorm. Hopefully I've been efficient with my commentary and throughout this time, yeah. A lot to think about anyways. Till next time. Yeah, I definitely want a whole lot of training and skills development and someone to give me reading material and other things I need to watch. Curate a whole lot of knowledge and information such that I would be a one-man army on such a challenge, such that I could be confident to actually lead and take charge and do a lion's share of the work, you know? Because I'd want to do well at something like this. I'm not sure if I would be capable, but I have enough egotism and passion. I'm not like egotistical in that I'm completely delusional, as other people have called me, where I think I'm everything and someone else is nothing, as some Latino fella told me. Yeah, fucking ridiculous. I never said that I'm nothing and everyone else, or sorry, I'm everything and everyone else is nothing, or vice versa, and that I'm nothing and everyone else is I have my worldview and my view of myself well salted with the truth, with the truth, you know? I'm far from what I could or should be, and things are rough, but there's a good amount of potential for self-actualization and fulfilling one's needs, but there's also a way more than all of that infinity hangups and margins for error. Yeah. Yeah. Where to go from here, though? It's all about who you know, not what you know, because if you know the right people, then you can learn the right things. So I hope through this video, maybe I can get into contact with people who know the right stuff and learn under them. Yeah, it is a worry. It is a worry of mine, as other people have stated, and like stated overtly through their words or what they've written to me or messaged, or just through their deeds or through their absence. Yeah, voting with their movement that I'm too far gone to learn or improve or to have anything to do with me. Yeah. I hope I haven't dissuaded everyone who's worthwhile from cooperating with me and teaching me things and just getting along. Like, fuck it. I don't care, honestly. At the end of the day, live or die. Popular or not, succeed or fail. To me, the depressing and abysmal thing is feeling like you have it in you. Like the wood that's dry, it could be used for a fire. Have a really beautiful and bright flame, and then to just get pissed on. That's the demoralizing thing, and just infinitely. It's not, oh, can't have a flame or won't have a flame. It's could have. That's what really fucking grinds my gears, or fucking, yeah. I don't know what the other expressions are. Yeah, that's what does me in morale and spirit. The worry of being written off, not by fucking schmucks or plebs or the masses, but by the good people, the capable people. That's, yeah, who otherwise I might have been able to work with. At least there was some hope. Yeah. Definitely need to conduct myself better so that more people see some good in me rather than just being the outcast. Yeah. The blackest sheep. I am the blackest sheep. Fine, I'm okay with that. But can I at least get taught how to fend for myself to the best extent possible? Like, it's one thing to be, I guess, loathsome and viewed as toxic and rancid to other people socially. Fine. To be outcast. Fine. But to be dropped in the ocean socially, without even a fucking life jacket, life preserver, no dinghy, no boat, no nothing. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Skills. Ingrained habits, routines, abilities, skills, yeah, knowledge. Practice, too. Good practice and experience. Energy, physical function, capacity, strength, and morale and spirit. It's a whole package being a powerful man. Whole package deal. I'm far off, but at least I have my wits about me to know where I'm at and where I want to be. Okay, really final thought and note. Having briefly skimmed the last recording I made, I'll say two things. First of all, if it isn't clear already, I'm not doing much editing besides just cobbling all of these recordings together in order and then uploading it, giving it a title and a description maybe. So all of this is just free form, for better or worse, completely organic. Uh, no one's told me what to say or how to think or how to feel on these matters. These are, yeah, my own musings, as uninfluenced as humanly possible. I'm alone right now in the building. No one to tell me what to think or what to do. So these are the conclusions that I come to. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, isn't it interesting on the island? There's no capitalism. There's no barter. There's no exchange rate. There's no tit for tat. There's just do as much as you can without crippling or burning yourself out to ruin and exhaustion. So you have people making the building, and they're not saying or stating or even wanting, from what I can tell, that, oh, well, if I make this structure for you, well, then I better get 8 crabs. Or I'll just sit on my hands and no shelter for all of us. Fuck us all in the ass. You know? There's no fucking capitalism, no barter, no tit for tat, fucking grumbling, fucking. There's no greed and avarice and hoarding going on where, oh yeah, well, I found all these twigs and they're all my twigs, or I found all these rocks, they're all my rocks, or I speared all these or harpooned all these or fished or netted for all these fish or animals or what have you. So I get to keep all the food that I get, and to hell with you all. There's none of that. It's not every man for itself, and it's not all for me, 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 me. It's the spirit of us. It's actual fucking communism. It's a testament to, they're living in a commune. They're living, pulling, heaving against nature collectively, without impediment, as much as possible, to infighting and drama and stepping over each other's toes or biting each other's ankles, inhibiting others from success, from jealousy, or for jockeying for position. There's none of that. It's just man's will fucking battling against nature. Fucking bosh! That's it. That's it. And it's glorious. It really is glorious. It's a pairing of glory and a little bit of remorse, or I guess secondhand hindsight embarrassment of why didn't they do this, why didn't they do that. But everything, for the most part, that they achieve is well earned and deserved, and just impressive. It's really impressive, and it's a testament to the human willpower and cooperative, collaborative spirit. Yeah, that's my final closing.